Righty then, welcome to an absolute week of mayhem. There's already been one upload today, which was the 5 things that we learned from the Aston Villa game. If you've not seen that, go check it out. And if you have, well, welcome back. And we are talking today about Leicester tomorrow night. Or tonight if you're watching it tomorrow morning. Ooh, time paradox. Right. How are Leicester doing in the league, Steve? I'll tell you, they're 4th. They are in the current final Champions League spot. They are 5 points ahead of West Ham. Who are 5th, and there's 3 games remaining for each. So West Ham still can actually get into the Champions League places, but it don't look good for them. So, yeah, I think it's probably going to be Leicester that just about holds on to there now. But Leicester not playing well at the minute. They've won 2, lost 2, drawn one of their last 5 league games. They've definitely suffered their worst defeat of the season against Newcastle. They lost 4-2 at home. Their away form's been very good this season, mimicking our own, but not quite as good. Very much better than their home, with 10 wins, 5 draws, and only 2 losses. Their star man, of late, it's really emerged as Iheanacho. Whenever you think of Leicester and you think of Danger Man, if you don't think Jamie Vardy, you're probably thinking Maddison. But at the moment, it's Iheanacho. He's got 18 in 35 this season, which, do you know what? Pre-Messi, Ronaldo, Lewandowski, that was really good numbers. He's got 8 goals and 3 assists in his last 8 games. He's absolutely on fire for him. And there's no penalties in that either. He has the highest goals per 90 in the league with 0.7.9 and the best goals per minute as well, having been used primarily as a sub during the early stages of the season. He scored 2 against us last time out in the FA Cup, and the forward duo of him and Vardy is as dynamic as it is dangerous. He's a very natural finisher. He's got a very good left foot. I think Iheanacho really suffered because of the City fan hype. Now, the City fan don't have many youngsters to get hyped about, so anyone that does come through is the greatest thing ever. And Iheanacho isn't, or wasn't certainly on the level of Marcus Rashford as he came out of the blocks at Manchester City, but he has found his feet since he's got to Leicester, and he's proving to be a very good Premier League footballer. Starting 11 for Leicester. Brendan Rodgers has been lining up in a 3-4-1-2 formation, which seems to be the formation that he's turned to accommodate the form of Iheanacho and pair him alongside Vardy, where originally he favoured the 3-4-2-1 with inside wingers or forwards alongside Vardy. But Rodgers has made a name for himself as a coach who does like to have a bit of an overall philosophy on how he likes the team to play and what he wants them to do, but he is open to making changes, certainly in the way the team shapes up, and especially about specific opponents and situations, as well as other factors around injuries. So he can be quite flexible in his approach, but I do think that's what we're looking at, the 3-4-1-2 formation. And I think it'll be Schmeichel, Castan, Fofana, Soyuncu, Pereira, Thomas, Tielemans, Ndidi, Maddison, Iheanacho, and Vardy. Johnny Evans is a doubt and also a massive miss for them. He is the one that knits that defence together. I think Soyuncu's been really good for them. Fofana's been decent for them. But for me, Johnny Evans is the one that stands out. And they've also got no Wes Morgan or James Justin in this one as well. One of the main principles of the way Leicester approach games where they're attacking is an emphasis on very rapid attacks with a lot of tempo, as you can imagine. Not quite the quintessential Ranieri-style Leicester where they would just be bombarding stuff in to let Jamie Vardy chase on the back of. But they do look to use pace. They effectively soak up pressure, and that's something the 3 at the back allows you to do quite well, is to literally soak up a lot of pressure and then spring forward when you're released. And 2 forwards coupled with a 3 at the back gives you a very, very good platform to be able to do that. Even when they have the majority of the possession, they emphasize the ball being worked from back to front quickly, sometimes skipping midfield, whether that's along the floor or over the top. They do like to try and get the ball right in there. Tielemans is an excellent ball player, but they like him to be direct when he's playing it, and he likes to work through the horizontal or vertical spacing with quick 1-2 touch passing and getting it forward with a bit of pace. They also look to utilise the wider areas when attacking. They've been quite successful when they're doing that. Players making runs into space between fullbacks, between centre-halves, dragging people out of position, or just taking advantage of the space that teams will likely leave in the wider areas so they can go narrow and protect the middle of the pitch. Maddison has a bit of a free roam, and he's difficult to pick up because he will pop up right into the channels as well as operating in between the two lines and making it difficult. And his movement is clever, and his touch is absolutely sensational. Whether it's a back three or a back five or even a back four, there are certain principles which have stayed really consistent for Leicester, I think, this season. One of them being that they stay compact between the lines, they deny space in between the midfield and the defence, and they're also narrow when it comes to defending as well. They like to control the space in the middle and force people to go around the outside of them. The wide midfielders and even the central midfielders on occasion going out to the wider areas, support the fullbacks or the wing-backs, as the case may be in this situation, and they make it extremely difficult to try and thread balls back inside, and that makes people go around the outside and cross it in. And when Jonny Evans is playing, they're very, very good at dealing with those crosses. When they come in, that's literally what they want you to do. And now they have been pretty prolific this season. They've got the third best scoring output in the league, but defensively they've just not been as solid. They have conceded 43 goals, which is just bang in the middle, really. It's 10th in the league. And they averaged 55.4% possession in the league, which is the 6th best. So even though they are effective on the counter, they are capable of keeping the ball and recycling possession. And the 81.55% pass accuracy that they've got tells you that they're pretty good at doing that as well. They are always looking to threaten in behind. They've got 45 through balls this season, which is only United City and Liverpool have completed more than them. And a combination of the speed, the quality of service and quality of movement that they provide with Iheanacho, with Vardy and with the likes of Maddison and Tielemans sticking them through balls in means that they are a threat, and that's why they score so many goals. They are joint top with us in terms of penalties awarded with 10, so the chances of a penalty are quite high in this game. And the reason for that is the same reason that United are getting them. Fast players moving quickly into the space of the penalty area is dangerous. And that's why the penalty that United got yesterday against Aston Villa wasn't typical of how United get penalties. Pogba was trying to turn inside the box. Very often it's someone being chased into the box and someone mistiming the tackle, taking someone's legs out from underneath them. That's where United and Leicester both pick up the same sort of penalties when they do it. Now, how do United beat them? Right, well, it's going to be, I imagine, an extremely rotated, I was going to say defence, but 11 from United. I think this is the game that we probably phone in. So I'm expecting a draw at best here, probably going into this thinking we're just going to give them the points. Big Dave in net, Williams, Axel, Baye and Telles rounding out the back four. Donny van der Beek alongside Matic, Diallo on the right, James on the left, although they could swap over. Mata pulling the strings in the 10 with Mason playing up front. Is he going to play that team? I have no idea. He said anyone who played 90 minutes won't be playing, and that ruled out, well, tons of people, and obviously Harry Maguire is injured, so how do we do this? Well, just like what Newcastle exploited, when facing a back three, if you move the ball quickly in transition, you bypass midfield, which is why I've got Donny van der Beek in there and why I've kind of got Juan Mata in there. I want those two to link up, and you'll have noticed I've gone with three very, very quick players. Mason's deceptively quick, but I think he's clocked the highest speed in the Premier League this season. Diallo's rapid, and James, literally the one attribute he's got is speed. So if you can exploit the wide areas with Diallo and with James, and with Mason stretching and looking to get in behind, you saw Callum Wilson do it for Newcastle. You saw Joe Willock and St. Maxim absolutely tear them a new one, looking for that time and time again. Leicester's back line looked shoddy, it looked disjointed, and without Jonny Evans, I just don't think they have the organisation, the communication to make this a real contest. If United played a full-strength team, I think they absolutely tater them. I don't think we can play a full-strength team, so I'm looking for these young lads to really step up and come and claim something. If I'm Ollie, I'm telling them there's a spot in the final for anyone who can come and show us something in this game. You've got to run in behind. You can't be stationary. You've got to be proactive. You can't be asking for the ball to feet. You've got to be always looking for the ball in behind. And their back line lacks pace, especially without Jonny Evans, who's got a little bit of momentum in him. He's certainly not Greenwood or Diallo fast, but he's not a slow coach. And without him, I think you can easily get in behind them. And they do like to have a relatively high line. So it's something that's on. And I'd be looking for Donny van der Beek. I've got him sitting here in a 4-2-3-1. But realistically, I expect him to sort of be coming up alongside there, in between Mata on the right-hand side maybe and getting forward, and in between Mata and James on the left-hand side, and really pushing into those sorts of channels where he can be of use, linking up the play in the final third, maybe a little through ball into the box for Greenwood to take a one-touch finish on the back of. I think defensively, and this might be the job for Matic, I think you got to get in and around Telles because he's the one who makes them tick. If he starts to find Maddison, who is their most creative player, probably the best technician on the team, possibly even the best technician on the football pitch, Leicester could really hurt us, especially when you think that that's what I went with Axel and Bayer, because those two have got the pace to be able to deal with Vardy and with Iheanacho. Otherwise, it's going to be a bad day for Lindelof. And is there any even other options? Is Phil Jones considered an option? I don't think so. So you've got to be able to go man for man against them there. You've got to be able to stop the creative players coming through. And that's why I think the experience of Matic and Mata, to be fair, could be a big plus for them. You've got to try and win the midfield battle, which is going to be very, very, very difficult with a rotated side, because then Didi and Tielemans, even if it was Fred and McTominay, is a rough game. If it's Donny van de Beek and Matic, it's a rough game. And it worries me, to be honest. But I think we are going to rotate. You just got to be aware of the threats. They completely outplayed Fred and McTominay in the FA Cup, and you could argue that that was where that game was won and lost, and where this one tomorrow could be won and lost as well. Jamie Vardy and Iheanacho are very good footballers, and they're also instinctive poachers that can sniff out a chance out of not a lot. So the defenders have got to be concentrated for the entire 90 minutes. Coming back rusty. We've seen the best and worst of Axel, but I think he performs better against pace. His best performance was comfortably against Mbappe, but then we've seen him playing against Istanbul Başakşehir and was awful. And I can't even remember who played up front for them. So we've seen the best and worst out of him. He would need to be at his best dealing with Iheanacho or with Jamie Vardy. If we can get our attackers 3v3 on against their back line with someone like Mata or Van der Beek providing the ball into the final third, you've got to back them, because every defence wants to be +1. Sometimes they'll make it a back five, and that'll mean we limit their width as they're going forward if they're worried about us. But I fancy our forwards man for man to be able to go and get something, and with a little bit of luck and maybe a little bit of motivation with the final place being on the cards, and the injuries and the tiredness stacking up, someone here could really make a name for themselves and try and get themselves into the final in Gdansk. That's what I think. Let me know in the comments, what do you think? And I'll see you guys in the next one. Laters. Oh, a little bit of breaking news for you after I recorded the preview, but before we posted the preview, the Green and Gold kit's live, and there's only 1,000, and we've already sold some, so you want to go and click the link down in the description and get yours before they sell out. Laters.